Good afternoon, friends. New project today. I've got many new projects on at the moment. It's gone a little bit mental, and this is really quite a nice guitar. I'll just hold it up there. You're thinking, oh yeah, Les Paul type affair, and you're probably going to be guessing it's an Epiphone. It's an Epiphone Standard, and there's nothing. Well, what does Standard actually mean? Why, if you're a Hamer fan, Hamer really set the standard in the 70s by building their own versions of Gibson guitars, but they set a really high standard. So if you ever get anything from Hamer and it says Hamer Standard on it, you're going to get an exceptional hand-built guitar. So standard should probably mean, you'd assume, most people seem to assume that standard means average. It doesn't mean average at all. It actually means it's a standard you set. So this is quite a higher end, I would say a higher end Epiphone. It's not up there with a Gibson by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a bad guitar. But they are a great guitar. They are a bound body, bound neck, a nice-ish, probably a grade 2 or grade 3 flame maple top. Not the highest grade flame maple, but a very solid and heavy guitar. I'd imagine they've got nicer electrics, nicer pickups in there, and probably a better quality bridge and tailpiece. There won't be any tin pot metal in there. And by all means, this is a very, very good guitar. Great weight. And this belongs to a friend of mine from church, and I recently did his Epiphone, a more basic model than this, and he was that pleased with the work. He's sort of bringing his higher end, or his wife's higher end guitars in, and he wants the full bit on this. I've already checked this guitar. I've been across with a fret locker. I've already ascertained there are 7 high frets, some really quite high. So it is definitely going to need a fret level. So I am presuming this is going to have a fret level, full fret level, whole neck. The frets will then need recrowning, polishing, and it's going to have an intensive setup. It means the electrics will be done, everything will be done, basically from the bottom up. I will loosen and tighten everything on the guitar, check all of the electrics, reflow any solder that needs reflowing. Just set everything up I can possibly set up, including a full fret job, fret level and crown. I'll presume there's going to be about 5 hours work in that. Blah, 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 blah. I just wanted to show the guitar. It doesn't say where it's made of. It's a double E. It's got Grover tuners on the back there. One's a little bit skew with, but I can't do anything about that. It's got an EE serial number, which means it was made in China. It will have the year over there. It's got 0802. It's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's got a 9-figure serial number. I'll be thinking this is either a 2008 or a 2002 model. Blah 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 blah. I'll have to do some research. Very nice piece of mahogany there. You know what? To be honest, I won't even bother with flame maple top, because that looks like, well, that looks to me, that's not a grade A flame. That looks like sycamore. I know a lot of the Asian companies, especially in China, they use a genus of a sycamore type genus tree, and it looks from a distance like flame maple, but it is not flame maple. It's quite cheap. I know a lot of the Korean factories used to use it, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. This came in with a cream switch tip on there that was, no, a black switch tip, that was right, but it was smashed. That's, again, not in a hard case, just in a cheap bag. So I've managed to replace that already, but I'm going to get the strings off. I'm going to check all the frets properly. I will come back, show which frets are rocking and why I am doing a fret level. I wouldn't rip anyone off if it comes to a fret level. If it needs a fret level, it's getting one. Once I got to 6 frets, I thought it's having a fret level, because I only got about 3/4 of the way up. I am not happy to do more than 4 or 5 frets tops. I don't really, if there's any more than 5, absolutely it's going to need a fret level, because 5 you can just about get away with. Any more than that I can't really do it by hand, because those 5 are going to interact with the other frets around them. It means 5 frets could actually, you want to be tripling that, and you could even quadruple that, because if I do 1 fret and file it down, it's going to affect 2 frets either side, so 1 fret can affect 4 more. It means if it's 5 frets, it could affect the whole lot. Any more than 5, I'm doing a complete fret level. It's the way it goes, otherwise it's just a false economy, because I'll alter 1, then I'll end up altering the 2 next to it. It's much easier to skim across the whole lot, which is what I'm going to do. I shall film some of the work. Just looking at the hardware on this guitar. Very nice hardware. That is a very, very nice looking bridge. Some real good fat saddles on there. Nice chunky metal, not the crap Chinese stuff you seem to get on cheaper guitars nowadays. So, what else can I tell you about the guitar? Not a lot really. I imagine the pots are going to be pretty much, they're probably alphas or some basic Korean or Chinese stuff. Probably going to be Chinese anyway. I suppose it'll be a decent standard. Strap buttons don't look too brilliant. That one's skew with, it's bent as anything. We'll have a look at straightening that out. And that's it, I will give it the works. This one, I'll come back and give small updates here and there. And let's have fun with it. I find it quite remarkable how some of these guitars get to me or come to me. And this Epiphone Les Paul Standard, amazing. There are 24 high, I'm a fret, regarding the frets, so 24 high spots across 13 frets. And people say, this is why people bring guitars to me. Because they say, oh, I think it needs a bit of fretwork, it's buzzing a bit. Buzzing a bit, it's amazing. So what I've done, in the meantime, well, since you last saw me, I basically got the neck straight, checked the frets, blah, 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 blah. Found they were all over the place, so I marked them all off, and I've already taped up the fingerboard ready for levelling. But look here, all those bits in pen, black pen, all these areas, are the areas, wherever they are, wherever they may be, are the areas where there are high spots on the frets. And I'm going to prove that to you by, I'm going to move the camera in a minute, and I'm going to get level with the bench, and we're going to put the not straight edge on the neck or across the neck, which I've already done and levelled. It won't give us a 100% reading now because I've put the tape on, but it still gives us a straight. You'll see that the neck is straight, and I'm going to go across with a fret rocker, and I'm going to show every point I've marked here. And I've marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 spots on this neck where we're getting a rock on the rocker. 2 frets are remarkably high. I'm talking a 1/4 millimetre difference, almost a 1/4 millimetre. It's like giving us about this much rock. It's remarkable. So I'm going to alter the angle of the camera so you can see where I am and what I'm doing, and I'm going to try and get the camera as close to the guitar as I possibly can without it like being a hindrance to me, because I need to be able to get in there. But I'm going to work over the camera as much as I can just to show you each fret where it is rocking. So wait there a second, and here we are, and that's about as close to the guitar as I can get without it being in my way. So we are just going to check that the neck is straight. It may not be show perfectly straight on here right now because I've taped it varying thicknesses across the length of the neck, but that is as straight as you're going to get this neck. There are tiny bits here and there, but that's because again the tape is different thicknesses all the way along the length. So take my word for it, I got this neck as straight as you can get it. So here we're going to go with the fret rocker, and some down here are quite remarkable. And I've got a feeler gauge out at 0.2 millimeters. Don't you can see there? It's a metric one, 0.2 mil, just to show how high some of these are. And I've got every area marked off, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to see if I can get a feeler gauge under that. Yeah, 0.2 millimeters there. Remarkable. Next one. In 2 areas on this one. I always do 3. You've got the centre area, you've got the left side and the right side, or you've got the centre and the 2 sides. So I mark 3 areas, 1, 2, 3. This is area 1 on this side. This one is areas 2 and 3, middle, and this side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show the gap. Again, just not quite, just almost underneath, look. Next fret's okay. And just to explain to those of you who don't know how this works, a fret rocker, it has 4 lengths. And this is milled perfectly flat. This is an expensive one. These edges are laser cut and milled perfectly flat. And what it enables me to do is to do 3 frets at a time. And if we get no rock, these 3 are level. But if we get a rock anywhere, like here, or here, we know the middle one is high. So again, as we move along the neck, we go shorter, shorter until we get up here. So already here, 1, 2, 3 areas across 2 frets. Next one's okay. Here, that is so high. It's the highest one, I think. You have got a 1/4 millimetre gap under this one. That's flat. I'm pressing down, and there you go. That wants to go under there. It's remarkable how much gap there is there. You can hear it. I can visibly see it. This edge. Again. That's not so bad. But anyway, this one's remarkable. You can see it. Watch this top. How much it's moving. 0.2 mil up. 0.2 mil feeler gauge under there. And there. It's remarkable this guitar's ever played right. Here. Next one's okay. I mean, it's remarkable. I was surprised. 0.2 mil. I'd be surprised if this guitar's ever played right. It was never played without buzz. I'm going to tap all of the frets in. That's not quite 0.2 mil. Next one's okay. Try to keep the arm out of the way. Remarkable. Here. Middle's okay. Edge is out. This fret's okay. And this final one. Here. So here we have. I'm going to number the frets first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 frets. So 23 areas across 14 frets. We've got area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Well, I'm counting 20 there, but some are not so bad. Like some of these are a 2 in the middle because it's that side and that side, but I'm counting them as a 1. So we're still looking at 20-ish high spots across the whole length of the neck. And we'll just go across again just to show. And this is quite remarkable. Oh, this one's a 2er because it's there and there. Next ones are okay. Next 2 are okay. Here. Next one's okay. Next one in the middle. That's a 2 area. That was remarkable. So high. I'm going to tap all these in just to make sure that they are in right. But they need leveling anyway. Again, so high. This one's okay. But these interact with each other. So say for instance I take all the height off there, it's going to alter how this one and these two, well these two each side. If I alter this one here, it's going to alter how these two are in relation to that one. So it's why we do the whole lot in one go. I'm going to be going across here with my leveling beam, which I've just stripped because it needs new sandpaper on there. I will be going with 240 grit on this side, 400 grit on this side. With 240 grit will remove the main material. Once I've got close or where I need to be, I will go across with the 400 grit and smooth it all off and remove some of the scratching. To affix the sandpaper to this beam, I use double-sided sticky tape, but I don't use double-sided sticky tape on here. I first put a strip of masking tape, then double-sided sticky tape, then my sandpaper. And when it comes to removing the sandpaper, I'm actually peeling off the masking tape, not the double-sided sticky tape, will leave residue everywhere. I have to keep cleaning it and polishing it and everything. I'll lose the edge. This is ground perfectly flat, this edge and this edge. So I use a strip of masking tape first, and then when I pull it off, I'm just peeling off a masking tape. Really, really easy to pull off. I've got videos showing how I make these beams and prepare them. You could go through my catalogue and have a look for that, have a search. But anyway, I'm now going to crack on. I'm going to get some sandpaper on here. I'm going to go across first with a file, remove the main height of these, get them really close, then I'll go across and finish with the beam. Once that is done, we can move on to the recrowning and the polishing. So, regarding this Epiphone, I've levelled the frets, more or less, not levelled the whole lot, I've levelled them, just filed over them. I noticed one kept pinging out on one side, and I thought, well, I could glue that in, but I've just pulled it, and it's fell out. And there it is. So I've decided I'm just going to replace it, rather than try and glue that back in, because for whatever reason I've pushed it back in and it's still pinging. Could get some super glue in there. I don't like working with super glue, so I've quite a bit of fret wire in stock, and I have bits left over, and we're all in separate bags. And there's a piece of 2.6 by 1.2. Now I know it's not 1.2 high because this fret wire is worn that's in the guitar, so I'll just cut a piece from this, and what I'll do is, I know it's going to be high when I get it in, but I'll just file it down to match the rest. So I'm going to put in a new piece of fret wire. Got plenty to work with there. It's much longer than that one. I will need to remove the ends because of tangs, because we've got binding on the guitar, so a little bit more work. I'm not going to charge any extra for it. It's going to take me half an hour tops to get that done. Not even that, probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So I'm going to crack on with that, and then we can get all of the frets levelled, and I can crack on to recrowning. I'm going to quickly show how I prepare a fret to go in on a bound fingerboard. So what we do is, first we cut the rough length. Now, because that's got a little bit of curvature on it, it's going to be longer when it actually looks. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to nip off the very end, and I cut this way when I'm cutting off an end, so it gives us half a bevel anyway. I don't know if you can see that. It gives us a nice flat cut, so I'm just going to bring that very close to where it needs to be. And that is a nice cut because it's giving us a bevel almost. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to remove the ends of these tangs, this side and this side, so these edges of the frets can sit over. That's the binding, and it's going to go over the binding to the edge of the guitar, like that kind of affair. This is a binding, we're just going to go over it and inside the groove. That being just here. You see the binding there. We don't want to cut through the binding, so we're not going to cut through the binding. So all I need to do is take a tang nipper, little cutting tool, not cheap, and we're going to remove the tang from the edge of the fret. And all we do is we place it in there, and we just dig it in, and you'll now see this end here. I've removed the edge of that tang. It doesn't cut very close. I can go in again, get closer, get a little bit closer, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to file it anyway. Cut there now, no more. That's typical. It's like live TV. There you go. And I've cut that right up to the edge now. That's perfect. Just do the other side, and this fret will be ready to go in. I'm going to glue it in, but I'm not going to glue it in with super glue. I'm going to glue it in with a just with regular. There you go. I've cut that side as well. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to file that because it's not cut right up to the edge. I'll just take a file. I'm going to glue it in with just some regular wood glue, because it's not to glue it in, it's just to fill the gaps between the fret slot and the edge of the fret. I mean, chances are I'll probably just go to hammer this straight in and load anyway, because the tang's probably a little bit wider on this, and it's a brand new fret, so it's going to hold really well. But I'm just going to put a little bead of regular wood glue in there, some Type Bond. Not going to make a federal case of anything. And that was it. That's taken me what, 2 minutes, if that, just to get this fret ready to go in the guitar. And there you go. Don't want to get too close. Put my hand behind it and you'll see I've cut the tang there and there. I'm going to make sure it fits the guitar. Just for safety's sake, I might just take a little bit off because that fret is going to flatten out. So I'm just going to remove just a little more from this side. can always take a little bit more off than you actually need to. It's going to glue in nice anyway. You know, I mean, you don't want to go mental. That's plenty. That's plenty. Little file there. Now we've got plenty of room for error. I'm not going to make an error. What I'll do is just file in, just to remove that little bit of excess on there. And then you now see, take more off that side than I need to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this side right up to the edge. And this side, once I hammer it in, because it's going to flatten out a little, so we're going to be really, really good with that. So I'm thinking, oh, that's absolutely perfect. I probably don't even need to glue this in, but I am going to glue it in just a little. I'm just going to get the neck taped up, and we'll get that one glued and hammer. I'm not going to use a press. I'm actually going to hammer that in, and that'll be absolutely fine. I'll come back and show you how it went. The new fret is in. I will just zoom in so you can see. As much as I probably want to go, otherwise I'm going to go out of focus. Just tapped in lightly with fretting hammer, brass side. All I do is hammer this side in where I got the tang right up against the binding, and just went across and knocked it all in. Just, all you ever need to do with these is light taps. If it's not going in with light taps, something's wrong. I did super glue this in the end. I didn't want to take any chances. But see what I mean about flattening the fret out? It's going to then be longer in once it's in the slot, once it's flattened out. That's absolutely fine. What I will do is I will take my cutters, we'll get in there, we'll cut it right up to the edge. It's about as much as we can go there anyway. And again, right up to the edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully make sure it's still in. It will be in. And I'm going to show that it is now. This is higher than all the rest of the frets, so I'm going to level this one. Listen. Quite a bit higher. We will level that off once I'm happy that it's set in there. But when it comes to the beveled edge there, I will do that totally by hand, using a very sharp file, which is my Swiss number 4 cut file. Just going in one direction. I don't want to cut into the binding, but I don't want it overlapping. You see we are getting there with that. That looks pretty good to me. Get the angle right. That, I'm pleased with that. That's beautiful. I don't know what you can see from there. And once I get to the edge, I'll find my safe edge on the file, which is there, and I'll just remove these burrs just from the edge of the bevel, rolling over, and that's all you need. 3 strokes, and that's beautifully beveled. It's not sticking out. And that side is done. I'll turn the guitar around 180 degrees, get the other side done. Once that's done, I will crack on with it. In fact, leveling, it's quite easy. I can do the leveling right now. I'm going to do it with the file because it is quite high. I'm probably better off to go this way just for now, until we get close. Always checking. It's very high there and there. Clean the file. Again, still high, still high, still high. Okay at that side. This is using the flat of the file just to bring it down to the level of the other frets around it. This I find is the best way to do it, because once it starts touching the other frets, you're going to know about it. And I'll really get in there now. I can see the flat spots. Still high there, still high there. check one each side. Still high there, still high there. But it's just a matter of being really, really patient. I've got a rag somewhere. Just to keep cleaning part. Always, always clean your file. And again, just over these three. Because yeah, I'm levelling that one mainly. I'm just going across that one. And once I get down to the level of all these, the file will let me know. Brand new fret in there. You won't even know when I've got this fret all crowned. You won't even know it's been replaced. Flat everywhere. A little bit more in the middle, and put more at this edge. Clean your file, always. You can tell by sound, well I can tell by feel, but you can tell by sound also. The sound changes when you're close and when you level with all of the frets. I think that is about there because it feels right. Just a tiny, tiny bit there. I think that is beautiful. That's there, we've done it. We've levelled the fret. All I need to do now is, I need to recrown the fret where it's flat. I need to put that curve back in across this length. And I also need to bevel this side. I shall do that off camera. Once I've recrowned this and levelled the lot, you will never know that that has been replaced. I also thought I'd show you a little bit of fret levelling. So we have 240 grit side of this is machine milled flat, completely both edges of this steel bar, 2x1 steel bar. Put 400 grit on that side, 240 on this side. I'll do the levelling with the 240, then I'll finish off with the 400 once everything's level to remove some of the scratching. I'm just going to have a brush, just brush off the fingerboard. I'm sure you can see all that flying off here where I've already levelled it. What we're looking for is all of the frets silver. I'm just going to finish off at this edge. I want it, yeah, there you go. All the frets are now silver. Just a couple of strokes, not really pressing. Check with my not straight edge. What I'll do is I'll put the not straight edge on the neck, then I'll move it just across to the frets, just to check that all the frets are level. I'll look underneath. There's no gaps under any of those. So we have the frets level. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remark, black marker pen. I'm going to finish off with the 400 grit, which will get rid of some of these scratches or make them at least not as deep. It'll make the frets easier to polish after I've crowned them later. I had pre-levelled these frets before I turned the camera on. I'd get it a few strokes. We've removed a little bit of material. The new fret I've put in, by the way, I'm not sure which one it is. I can tell by the paper it's this one here. That's the new one. Fits in beautifully. So all I need to do now is go across with the smoothing side, 400 grit. Once I've removed all the black, which shouldn't take long, we are done, and then I can move on to the recrowning. I'm just easing this along, I'm not pressing down. And we are done. Those frets are now level. I can pen them back up, and while the guitar is here on this bench, I can move straight on to the recrowning. Now I've flattened my frets, so we need to put that curve back in across this way. So we've just got a minimal area of the fret touching the string when the string is pressed on there. Ideally we want round about 1/4 to 1/3 of a millimetre, which is what I shall aim for. I'll pen them up again, I'll get on there, get the recrown done, and then we'll be ready for polishing. And now I'm going to show how to crown a fret. So I'm going to zoom in for that. Well, I'll just explain what files I'm going to use first. I have a proper grooved crowning file, which is a profiling file. I could use that, but I prefer the old method of using a 3 angled file like such. We've got ground flat edges, so we don't cut into the fingerboard, but I tape up the fingerboard anyway. And what I'll do with this is I'll go across. This is a really coarse grit, and when I'm on the far side, I'll curve over as I file to arc that edge in. Then I'll move to the other side and I'll go vertical, then I'll move away from the camera to bring that arc in, and we'll leave a thin line just down the centre. When I've done that, I'll use a finer cut 3 edge file, again with the edges ground flat. This one's a much smoother cut. I could use just this one, but this one removes more material. So I'll show you how I go about that, and I'm going to steady the headstock, and it's just a matter of, I'm going to start vertical first and I'm going to roll towards you to make that arc. That's a cutting edge as you're pushing away. I can go backwards and forwards, it makes no difference. But now you see I'm arcing or bringing the file over to create that thin line on the top. Then I'm going to move to the other side, do the same again. And I have a beautiful thin line right down the centre of that file. Once we've used the file, always wipe clean, ready for the next one. I'm going to take this file, do exactly the same. I'm going to remove all the burrs and all the bit of excess material there. Much finer cut. I'm going to go again, this side rolling towards the camera because I'm on the far side. This side rolling away from the camera. We have a beautiful thin black line just along the top of the fret, absolutely wonderful. And then I'm going to go across with the profiling file, remove any excess, and all we're going to do, we're going to tidy up the edges and just remove any burrs. I'll get down there and I will look, and that fret is now where it was flat, going this way. Where it was flat, it has now got that beautiful D shape going across this way. That one is crowned. I have 21 more to do, so I'm going to crack on, get those done. I don't think I can zoom in much more without it going out of focus. I'll try just a little. That's about as much as I want to go. There's a thin bead of black on top of it. That is the area that is going to touch, that the string is going to touch, so it's not going to cause any rattle. Now these aren't finished. They are going to need to be polished later. I'll get to that when I get to it. And here we are, friends, right at the business end of the job in hand. I've been across with 6 different grits with sandpaper, polishing the frets, and finally over with finest grade steel wool, just to bring that shine right out. Absolutely beautiful. Everything's done. I've gone up the sides as you do, then across it this way. The frets look absolutely wonderful. But that is the best part of the job. Now I'm done. All I need to do is glue back on the nut. Just show you there, if I can get an idea of the frets. I don't know if I can get the light not reflecting. There you go. It looks so nice. Yeah, all I need to do now is I'm going to remove the tape, glue the nut back on, and we'll get some strings on. And we'll clean it up, clean the headstock, get some strings back on. We'll get it all set up, and then the guitar is ready to go. And the guitar is all finished. New set of D'Addario 1046 strings on there. It's had a complete fret level, this one, and 1 fret replaced. If I didn't tell you which fret I've replaced on this, you would never know. I guarantee that. Fret I've replaced is this one, number 14 there, just above my finger. That's the one I've replaced. The guitar plays, I'll tell you what, the guitar's never played as well as it does now. It's absolutely beautiful. And doesn't it look fantastic? It's a great looking guitar. One of the better Epiphone models, this one. Epiphone Les Paul Standard. Did I look at a serial? I didn't even look for a serial. It's an 08 serial number. It's February 2008, this one. And very nice. I also straightened up the wonky tuner on the back there, so that's all done. What else has it had done? It's had a full setup. I've altered the intonation, got that right. It came to me with a smashed selector switch tip. It just came to me, and basically there's really flimsy cases, carry case. It's basically a bin liner with a handle on it. Absolute rubbish. If you've got a guitar like this, get a good case for it. Get a decent case. But anyway, it looks fantastic. New set of strings, like I say, set up. Action 1.75 on the low E at the 12th fret, 1.6 at the high E on the 12th fret or above the 12th fret. So the proper setup, complete fret level, all the frets have been recrowned, one fret has been replaced, didn't have to touch the nut, that's pretty decent, albeit it is a plastic nut. What a piece of rubbish. Why make a guitar nice like this and put a plastic nut on it? I just don't get it. Cutting corners, I'm not one for cutting corners, me. It's not my thing. And here's an example. My wife was at university this morning and she wants to go skating this afternoon. It means that she can wait at university 5 hours or come home and go back out later. And my wife doesn't drive, so she has to get the train or the bus because we live quite away from Nottingham town centre. In fact, it is quite a ways. It's an hour bus journey. So she said, I'll get bus saved, won't I? So she's ended up being late for university, missed her first class. Then she's still got to come back later on the bus, which is going to take a longer time. She gets here, she'll be in for an hour, then she'll be going out again. I said, why don't you just pay the extra £7 and just go and get the train and the tram instead of faffing about? Don't cut corners to try and save pennies. It's just absolutely worthless because it will cost you more in the long run. That is my advice. But anyway, this guitar is done. It's come out really well. It looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. And I'm sure the owner is going to be pleased with it. So, another one finished. I have this day to myself today because I don't work today. And I've had some bits arrive for my guitar, so I'm going to work on my own guitars. But anyway, check out my website. The best place to find out anything about me is at Facebook, facebook.com/ng17. That is facebook.com/NGONESEVEN, facebook.com/ng17. You can see my videos, you can see all the stuff I do on there. You get a pretty good idea of what happens here at Fret Friend and what I do, what I can offer, and how good I am at it, because praise the Lord, I'm pretty good at it. So that's it, Fret Friends. So until the next project, as always, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon.